Hey, Gabriel.
Hey, Gaybros, Jose.
Where are we today?
We're at our homes.
Our respective homes in San Francisco.
Our respective homes. It's cold. Things are shutting down again.
But at least it looks like there is a vaccine in the horizon one day.
Fingers crossed. How many episodes did we actually record in a dive bar?
Way less than we actually recorded from home. Instead, this should
Only
actually
like
just...
7, right?
Yeah, I would say like... Well, if you also include like the bars that we have gone since the reopening started, I would say there's like maybe 10 out of 70 almost episodes. So, yeah, I would say that we should change the name to Gaybros Remain at Home and use Zoom for talking about cinema.
Gaybros get on Zoom calls to talk about
Exactly. But talking about cinema, what did we watch today?
We watched... This is a classic, right? I call them all classics.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find the year. The 1967 seminal classic, The Samouraï.
The Samouraï by
Directed by Melville.
Jean-Pierre Melville. Did you watch any other movie by him?
No, that's actually what I was just looking up. So what did he have to do? I think he was an actor. I've seen a lot of movies that he's acted in. But no, many of these I have meant to, like Les Enfants Terribles. But no, I have not seen anything else that he has directed.
That's it.
You?
I don't think so. I think that this was the only one that I came across, and I even don't really remember why I actually ended up on this. But the reason why I picked it is because we were talking about like just classic independent cinema in the States with John Cassavetes and A Woman Under the Influence, and I thought that it would be interesting to just see another highly stylized French movie. You know, like just trying to think about, okay, this is what the States were doing as independent cinema, and this is what France was doing. I mean, it's not that they're like, 7 years apart of each other.
So this is an independent film?
I mean, I don't think that it would be like completely independent from the perspective that Alain Delon is a really big star. I mean, he was an icon in France. But I don't think that they were like just envisioning this to just making like millions of francs.
Yeah. Yes. This is pre-Euro time for you. Confused. This was pre-Euro time.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the reason I was saying like francs, because they also mentioned francs a couple of times during the movie. But yeah, and also I watched it, and I think that maybe I watched it because someone recommended it as a highly stylized noir. And I'm pretty sure that whoever recommended it is like because they knew that I like noir. So
last week you did give me a selection of 3 very fine films. And this is what you picked.
Yeah, and do you regret picking this one?
No, I think it's clearly the best out of the 3 that were chosen from.
Okay.
Not that I would have minded watching Moulin Rouge again. And then you know how I feel about Monty Python, but that's for another podcast, apparently, when you're going to watch it. So this is for me to summarize, right?
Yeah, as it was my pick.
Well, not much happens in an hour and 45 minutes, so the synopsis should be easy. It follows what I think is a depressed hitman named, how did they pronounce it? Was it Jeff?
Jeff.
Named Jeff. And he's a hitman. He's been hired to kill what I think is the owner of a nightclub. So he kills him, and he leaves. And a couple people see him leaves when apparently he was a very good hitman, creating alibis and stuff before.
Yeah.
Including the piano player of this club, who's played by Kathy Rosier. whom I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And the police narrow down on a certain number of suspects, but they're pretty sure it's Jeff. But the piano player lies to the police and said, no, it's absolutely not him. He doesn't understand why, so he kind of pursues her a little bit, but never really gets any answers. When he goes to pick up the payment for his kill, he's double-crossed by his employer, and the guy tries to kill him, but he escapes. And then that guy comes back and offers him a real job instead of killing him, but we don't find out who he's supposed to murder. And then the police are still closing in, but he's too smart for them. He gives them the slip in the metro. And then he goes back to the nightclub, and very publicly, everyone's watching him. Everyone knows who he is. He goes up and points the gun at Kathy.
Yeah.
And she says, why? And he says, I was paid to, but then the police shoot him and kill him. And then we find out that his gun was empty. He clearly never intended on killing her.
Yep.
And then the only thing I didn't mention is that Jeff has a girlfriend, Jane, that gives him alibis, and she plays into it a little bit, but she's a much more minor character than everybody else.
Yeah, they never really develop her. So, as I was mentioning earlier, it's pretty clear that this tries to follow a bit like the pattern of the regular, how do you say, like noir. You have like something, that is like a person that is like just suffering, as you were saying, like maybe a depression or victim of the circumstances or whatever. They don't give like enough depth to him. It's like we don't know exactly what is his life. It's like he just lives in this small apartment, and that's it, with a bird. That is basically like the best detector if something has happened in the whole world.
Yeah, I was trying to pay attention and I kind of forgot sometimes, but I don't think there's any conversation about anything that's not happening in the movie. Meaning there's no memories, there's no, there's just nothing that you would call character development, which is a pet peeve of mine. It didn't bother me here because of the style.
Yeah. But then I think that it also, like even the title, I don't think that I'm like reading too much, is that the guy has the kind of personality that you would expect to see from a samurai. If you have watched any Kurosawa movies, is that they're usually like very sparse in words.
Reserved and yeah,
I'm pretty reserved, and it's okay, it's my life, I have my style. And it's that they even the movie opens with a quotation from the Bushido, from the Art of the Samurai. That is okay, yeah, you're like pretty on the nose of what you're trying to do here. Like you're trying to just mix up like the Japanese samurai genre with the noir style from Hollywood in the 30s and 40s. And you also have like the kind of style of this is how was in Climax, what did they say at the beginning, is that this is an unapologetically French film. Because all the scenes in the subway, all the scenes on the club, all the kind of style that they have is like, yeah, this is a French film. Is that this couldn't be like from any other country.
Yeah, I was struck by the shot of the outside of the nightclub, which is essentially just a staircase down, and I was like, how does this feel so French? Just this one shot, the nightclub sign and the stairs. Yeah. I was like, this is Paris.
Yeah, then I had to say that it's one of those films that is true, is completely form over substance. And I think that everyone was aware while doing this movie that is, look at this form over substance. It's like we know what we're doing here. Because there are like many times that you actually stop for a second to think, it's like, wait, that makes no sense. Don't think it. Just move on with your life.
Just go along for the ride. It's a pretty ride.
Exactly. It's because I was thinking about the apartment that the piano player lives in. I say, so wait a second, you're a piano player in a small club in Paris, and you can actually afford this in Paris? What the fuck?
I completely agree. I was like, there's no way unless she's like married to a mob guy. But I went down into a rabbit hole trying to understand the ending, because it's not just like you were just left to guess what his motivations were. Like, you're never going to find it in this film. but somebody said that he uses very specific camera tricks, and so there's a scene where she walks up the stairs in her living room and then goes down a white hall. Apparently there's a scene of Kiev walking down a white hall and getting to a door. Like, there's some sort of trick they were trying to do to explain her and why she was at that apartment, but honestly, even reading it, I was like, I can't follow this.
Yeah, I mean, I had to say that maybe I was smarter when I watched it the first time, because I think that I thought a bit more about that. Because, for example, when you say that we never know who is sent to kill at the end when they do the second payment, I suspect that they're actually asking to kill her because she was a witness. From the perspective, if you actually remove that, no one is going to be able to connect you to it. So you need to kill her. And he's like, basically,
so he didn't have a choice then.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I know that if I don't kill her, they're going to come to kill me.
And if he's dead, he knows the police will stop looking for the killer. Yeah. Interesting.
That's my perspective, but it's like I also agree with you that it's pretty open-ended. You know, it's a bit more like you can just think whatever you want. But it's like at the same time, is that you can get a value out of this movie without like really understanding it. Well, not understanding it, but like, without like diving too deep into it.
Yeah. There's a surface level to enjoy completely.
Yeah.
It is extremely stylized. I was interested in the number of minutes they would spend on extremely mundane tasks, like when they were trying to find the key to his apartment, and they just kept trying keys.
Yep, one, another, yep.
He was looking for the bug in his apartment, and we saw that search in real time.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I also have to say that it's funny when you see like this kind of high-tech things, you know, and then you translate it to nowadays like, that's dumb. Yeah, maybe the audience back then is like, they will be like, yeah, whatever. They have never seen CSI, so it's fine.
And there are huge expanses of time with just no dialogue at all. And one of them is in the very beginning.
5 minutes.
Yeah, and I noticed because I was into the movie, and then they started to speak French, and I was like, I completely forgot this was a French movie.
I agree with you. I also felt like pretty confused after 5 minutes. I thought, okay, this is not. I was going to say Jodorowsky, but no. Tarkovsky. This is not a Tarkovsky movie. This is not Solaris. I haven't been staring to the screen for 15 minutes. Something is happening on the screen, but it's still not driving any story yet. So I think that is, once again, just an exercise in aesthetic. And I think that as such, it's a series. Because, for example, something that I had like completely burned in my brain, not the whole movie, but something that I remember exactly how it played, is when the two guys meet up in the overpass. And they start like just advancing to each other, and when they're like just next to each other and start like just shooting. And it's funny because you barely see the guns, but the audio is like just shooting non-stop, like bang, bang, bang. That is like, okay, special effects. That's another point that I thought that maybe the budget was not that big on this.
That would be interesting to understand the budget and if they had constraints. And maybe it was a reshoot, but they couldn't redo the audio or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, just think that the thing that maybe that I think was like pretty expensive from the perspective that there is an aerial take. And at that point, it was probably an helicopter, and there is not too much room for a helicopter to fly around. So it's maybe it's one of those things that is, okay, we have to make it look more exciting than it actually was.
Did you know there's an alternate ending out there?
Oh no, I didn't know.
They wanted Hief to die with a big grin on his face. But then Melville found out that same actor, I think, had done that exact thing in a different movie, and he got pissed and kept the ending as we saw it, but there are like stills out there from that original ending.
That's so weird. So, and why would Melville be angry that Alain Delon used that resource of Alain dying smiling?
I don't think he was angry at the actor. I think he was angry because he wanted to use his idea and it felt derivative at that point.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So, did you like it?
I did like it, yeah. It was very compelling in moments. At other times, it felt kind of monastic, like spring, summer, winter, fall, and spring again. Like, you're just, the pacing is incredibly slow, but that doesn't mean that it's boring and that it's not compelling. And I actually really enjoyed what I was saying earlier about these mundane tasks taking so long. There was something hypnotic about it that like both decreased and increased my sense of urgency. Like I wanted to rush to find something, but I was also very okay with the slow pace. I think that whatever clever trick the director was trying to play was lost on me, and I kind of enjoyed it at a more surface level, at least based on everything I read online afterwards. It's actually a movie that I would enjoy watching again to try and get more out of, because I think it's there. I liked the actors a lot. I liked the style of the film a lot. The story was a little light, but I mean, if I liked everything else, then apparently that's not a problem for me. I just expected more in an hour and 45 minutes, but yeah, I liked it. Did you like it?
I like it, but at the same time, as I was telling you at the beginning, I just feel that it tries to dance between like just the complacent, well, more the complacent, more that the how do you say, like the meditative kind of a style from any kind of samurai movie. When I think that for noirs, more stuff happens. Is that the stories usually more fleshed out and the characters are like more well defined. And I had a feeling that they added like 3 different aspects. That is like the noir, the samurais, and the French New Wave to it. Because I'm not completely sure if this falls into the New Wave, but at least it's like very stylized.
And the director was actually an actor in many of the actual big French New Wave classics. So he was clearly influenced by those directors acting in those films.
Yeah. And this is not like Dogma. This is not like Dogma that you need a stamp at the beginning saying like, this is Dogma. Otherwise you cannot say that it's Dogma. So this may be like partially New Wave. And I had the feeling that the mixture of these 3 things is like, I can enjoy a samurai movie. It depends on which one. I love noir cinema. But with New Wave, I always had the feeling that it's like I have like a harder time connecting. So I liked it, but at the same time, I feel a bit more. It's like I think that I could have liked it more than I actually did. If for example, if they were like to do a American remake, they were calling it like I don't know, The Hitman Samurai.
It's interesting hearing you say all that because I'm not someone who likes French New Waves, but there's a lot within the movement that I really enjoy. But there's a lot that I'm like, I don't understand why this is interesting or important. And to be honest, I don't think that I've ever seen a samurai film. Is that possible?
No, you watch Rashomon at least.
The only Kurosawa film I've ever seen is the one you had me watch about the civil servant.
But you like that one.
I did, yeah, but that's not a samurai movie. It took place in the 50s.
No, that's true. But I mean, it's like basically everything else that the Kurosawa did was a samurai movie.
No, I did see Matt
what? Matt what?
All the names just lost my head. Who is the people who gave us that shitty movie from Gus Van Sant? They wrote the script. Matt Damon. Matt Damon was a samurai, a white samurai. I did see that.
So you're talking about The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise?
No, didn't Matt Damon just do a horrible movie where he played a samurai?
I thought that was Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai.
I did see The Last Samurai.
Yeah. Okay, The Last Samurai was indeed Tom Cruise. And now we're talking about Matt Damon also being a samurai.
Yeah, it was just like last year, and it made no money. It's called The Great Wall. It came out in 2016.
Oh my God.
Anyway, this was all a really bad joke. I didn't see this movie. I wanted you to be indignant that I saw that and not
that's fine. So, do you think, something that I was thinking while I was watching this movie, and I was thinking about the highly stylized and some parts that they don't make too much sense. I was thinking on Diva. Did you actually connect at any point between both of them?
I didn't, and then before we started recording, you mentioned it, and yeah, I can see it. I would have never gotten there myself. But I think Diva made a bigger impact on you because that movie is not one I will remember in 6 months. I barely remember it like 4 weeks later.
That's completely fair. I had the feeling that it's like in this case, when I was watching it, I was thinking, like, so wait a second, there is, and the thing is like at least a Diva, like the black opera singer, she's talented. She's actually a singer in real life and also an actress. But this woman, when she's playing the piano, it's like one of the fakest things that I've seen in any movie. It's like she's just doing like this, like just looking at the camera. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have to pay attention to what I'm doing because I know all my pieces perfectly,
When Yef goes to see her in the nightclub after she lied to the police, it's the first time they've seen each other outside of the police station. And she just like sees him walk in and she stares at him and it's like 45 seconds and she doesn't even look at her hands and everything's just going well.
Yep, perfect tempo, no need. He's like, wow, you're an artist and maybe you deserve the apartment that you have.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, about like just some parallels that they had, and I even wonder if there would be like a bit more of like the director of Diva, if he actually liked this movie and he wanted to do like another thriller in a similar kind of like tone, because both of them are like pretty surreal.
Yeah, that's true. So I was just thinking while you were saying that I did like this movie. Would I have expected this became kind of the classic that it is? I don't think so.
That's what I was going to be asking you, is that because I was surprised. I mean, I was not surprised that it was on the Criterion Collection, but do you think that this we know that there are like some movies that they are obligated to put on the Criterion Collection, like Armageddon, for example. But do you think that this is like a legit Criterion Collection worthy movie?
I would want to understand more about the historical context of this film, and did it do things for the first time? Was it like cutting edge? Like, is it important in the history of cinema because of what it did? Otherwise, no. I feel like I could have seen this on, this might not mean anything, your Turner Movies classic. Like, it's a solid movie, but it kind of feels like there are many out there that are pretty similar.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but I think that is from the directing perspective is pretty solid. I mean, it's like visually striking. It's like most of I love noir, but it's like most of the noir movies, they're usually using the same kind of style, the same kind of tricks, the same kind of takes, It's a bit more like always someone define what noir is supposed to be. I mean, it evolved a bit, but it's like you can see the same things over and over. You see that those resources that they use, they define what the genre is. And here is that, you have like the trench coat, you have the hat, you have like some darker scenes, you have like, for example, they use pretty smartly in one scene when he's shooting. He's wearing, only on that scene, he's wearing like gray gloves. And the take, I think that is like completely like focusing on a side from the neck down, on a line below. And the guy like getting shot, I think that is the guy that he murders at the beginning. And it almost feels like he's on black and white, a line below. He's amazingly well using the color, and the takes about like, okay, the guy knew exactly what he was doing. So for me, from that perspective, not from the perspective of the story, because the story is something that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be forgetting even before Diva. But and Diva was something else. But I just feel like from the directing perspective is a really good exercise. That I think that it has to be like just propagated. People should actually know about this movie. I wouldn't recommend it. If someone asks me, like, just recommend me a noir, is like I recommend like many more noirs before this.
Did it remind you at all of the Maltese Falcon, but like a sophisticated French Maltese Falcon?
Yeah, because the Maltese Falcon is a noir movie too.
It's a what? Noir? Yeah.
Yeah. But what exactly in the Falcon's in the Maltese Falcon?
The visual style of it, the mood when it wasn't when it wasn't like very meditative and slow. It, like atmospherically, but you're right, like atmospherically noir films have the same tone. So maybe that's just the two noir movies I remember.
Yeah, there is a part that I like quite a bit, how it was shot, but I think there is like more than the shooting. It's actually the editing. There is like when they're doing the interrogation, and the policeman is like just jumping from one room to another, like the main investigator, and it almost feels like self-contained stories, and then he's like the vehicle of just making those stories like go in different directions. And I feel like that's actually cool, and how it actually end up like converging on that room. That is like, okay, I'm going to be like getting the suspect, and I'm going to be like making everyone just tell me if they recognize it or not. But it's like,
yeah, you're right. And I'm wondering if he wrote it, because is he also a writer? I know he has writing credits. Writers, yeah, him and George Pellegrin. George.
Yeah. Maybe it's, I don't know if it will be based on a book.
It is based on a book by John McLeod.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you think that you will remember this movie a year from now?
Yeah, there were 5 plot points, so I got them all.
All of them. There was a samurai at some point.
I don't think I'll remember a lot of specifics. I'll remember the tone. I'm not going to remember the plot, no.
Gotcha. Would you recommend this movie?
In a very specific situation where someone came to me and said, hey, would you recommend The Samurai? I'd be like, yeah, I saw that movie. That's pretty good.
I saw the movie and I don't remember it, but go ahead.
I remember enjoying it. Now, this doesn't... Not that it's a bad movie, it's not my personal taste of movies, so when somebody comes, it's like, hey, recommend me a good classic film, this is never going to come to mind to me. It's not that I wouldn't, it's just I won't.
That's okay. No, that's completely fair. I'm trying to think. As I told you, there are like many, I cannot think about like the context where I could recommend this. I could never, for example, if someone comes to ask me, they say, hey, would you recommend The Samurai? Like, sure, it's not bad. You're going to have a good time, at least like from a visual perspective, but I cannot fathom under what kind of question you will have to ask me that it doesn't include The Samurai in the title, that it would end like, yes, you should watch The Samurai.
Hey, Jose, can you recommend a movie from 1967 that takes place in Paris with a black piano player?
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Under those circumstances, if someone asks me, "Hey, would you recommend me everything that describes The Samurai?" Like, yes, I would recommend The Samurai. But if you ask me about like a genre, even if you ask me like a new wave, I would say, look, just go watch, I don't know, Alphaville or something, like even more bizarre. Just go all into a new wave. Don't stay, in the kind of the outskirts of the genre if you want to actually explore what is it about. If you ask me about a noir, is that there are like better noirs in, like the ones that they are based, sorry, the ones that they serve as an inspiration for this one. And you ask me about like samurai movies. Maybe you ask me about samurai movies just for trolling someone. Maybe I would call it The Samurai.
That would be hilarious.
The
samurai show up.
But you have to watch it until the end because the samurai is there sooner or later. Don't worry. Yeah. So did they ever mention what is he hiding in the chimney?
I didn't catch it if they did.
Yeah, I thought it was some kind of picture or something. That it was for just giving like maybe some kind of depth to the character, but if we don't see the picture, I don't know how it can give any kind of depth.
I can't stand when directors are going to be like, we're going to show them a photo that's really important to the character, but we won't show them what's in the photo.
Yeah,
that'll make them think.
Oh yeah, I think that you would love them. Did you watch Lost?
The first season I did.
Gotcha, because they use that resource a lot. About like a character sees something and is like, oh my god, I saw the most incredible thing, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I went to a Sundance film that who was the new girl? Zooey Deschanel. She was in it, and kind of some big actors, and then it just disappeared for like 5 years, and eventually it showed up. The film starts out where his dad kills himself, and he sends his son a series of Polaroids and a gun with one bullet so the son can also kill him. and they never show what's on the Polaroids. So in the Q&A, I said, what was on the Polaroids? And they're like, originally that was in the script, but we thought it'd be more interesting if we never told you.
Okay.
You're a douchebag.
I agree with you. That there are like sometimes that's used poorly. But you love Pulp Fiction. You really like Pulp Fiction.
I do.
And we never know what is in the suitcase.
And it's more compelling that way. I agree.
So, I mean, I think that is like, look, it doesn't matter. It could be like a giant turd inside of the suitcase. It wouldn't change anything in the movie. I think that is a bit more like the canon of the
Pulp face and golden lights every time.
I think that is like pretty well used as a plot. I mean, it's a MacGuffin. It's not really like something that is like central to the story, or is that they have. It could be anything. It could be like, I don't know, like how do you say, like snakes in a suitcase, for example, and that will work too. It doesn't matter what is inside, because they just have like a specific errand to do. But in the case of that movie that you're describing, it feels like it's a bit more of an emotional impact for the character, and not disclosing it just leaves a half sketch character.
Yeah, it was pretty vital to the story in that movie.
That's interesting. I think that in this case, as I can forgive it from the perspective that they never tried too hard on developing the character, so that there is something from his past. Doesn't matter.
Like, I didn't care about any of the characters in I worried about this person or this person's interesting. It was more just watching.
Yeah, like this player.
Fulfilling the plot, and I was like, I don't need to know, if he loved his dad.
That's true. You know that Alain Delon did a version of The Talented Mr. Ripley, no?
I didn't.
Yeah.
He made a movie of the book?
Yep. Yeah, there was another adaptation of that. Yeah. I mean, I remember the title in Spanish, but apenas fusa.
It's not recently, right?
Oh no, Purple Noon from 1960.
Wow. Is it good?
I've never watched it. I was like pretty curious, because I discovered. So first I watched the who directed Talented Mr. Ripley? Minghella, no?
Yeah.
So he did Cold Mountain, no? And then he died, I think. So after watching Talented Mr. Ripley, I read the book, but the book even in Spain at that point, the version that you could still find. It was based. It was like just branded by the 60s movie.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it had like the main, the cover. It was like the shot of Tom Ripley, like just hugging. What was the name? Dick Greenleaf. Dick Greenleaf on the yacht, on the boat, on the small boat, just from above. So I said, I think, and I read that the homoerotic stuff is still in there.
Well, guess what we're watching next?
I'm going to add it to the list because I will be curious to watch this.
Interesting.
So, should we score this, or do you think there is anything else?
I don't think there's any more. I mean, it was a good movie, but there's not much to it.
No, I agree. So, what is your score then?
6.5.
6.5? Okay. Mine is a 7. I actually was debating between a 6.5 and a 7. But
I was too, exactly that. But then the last few times I've rated mine too high. So I said, no, don't do it.
I just feel like, at least from the aesthetics perspective, how the overpasses scene works for me is still an impressive one. I still read, okay, this is like a 10 out of 10 on aesthetics. It's like, even by nowadays standard, like, I don't know, 56 years later, it still looks cool.
It does, and the fashion is so cool.
Yeah. It's funny, like seeing something from the 60s that doesn't fail to age. I mean, there are like things like, for example, the aesthetic of the club. That is like, yeah, this is 60s. This is like 100% 60s. Or like the apartment of the girl, the piano player, is like, yeah.
But it's like it's still stylish, but it's dated. But it's cool. It looks cool.
Yeah. So definitely. So from that perspective, that's the reason what I was asking you. You think that this is a worthy of a legit Criterion collection spot? And I think that yes.
Yeah, I would say probably yeah. I mean, it's better than Armageddon. So.
Would you say that it's better than Election?
Oh, it's been way too long since I've seen Election. Initially, I would say yes. No question, this movie's better. Why do you hate Election? Oh, because it's another high school in America.
No, well, and also it's on the Criterion collection.
But I also think that's valid. It's a good movie. It is a good movie. I think it should be in there. I don't.
But it's not. We had discussed about Election, and I think that it's on the list. That's a movie that I like more than I should.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what are we watching next?
I'm actually going to give you a surprise choice.
Okay.
Doesn't Kurosawa have one called Seven Samurai?
Oh, you want to watch Seven Samurai?
So you pick between Seven Samurai or Wild at Heart by David Lynch.
I'm going to go with Wild at Heart just for a single reason. I watched like many of his samurai movies, and I would recommend like probably watching Rashomon. That is not like a pure samurai movie, but it has like some pretty cool stuff. And if we watch the Seven Samurai, probably you're going to be like telling me when I actually say let's watch Rashomon.
Okay, I'm gonna put Rashomon into.
No, I already put it. Here.
Great.
And I just realized that as you were editing our spreadsheet, you removed Ice White Sat.
That was an accident. If I did that, I love that movie. Damn, I love that movie. Okay, well, great. I'm excited. I'm really excited because I haven't seen this movie in years. I loved it when I saw it. It's David Lynch. It's a David Lynch movie you haven't seen. Yep. So can't wait to talk about that.
Okay. Well, to whoever is out there, thank you so much for listening.
And wash your hands.
Bye.